Welcome to case study number 1, a Bank on Yourself cruising kitty example for a young cruising couple, Derek and Jen. Please note that none of the information presented here is to be taken as any sort of guarantee of performance. Every situation is unique and different, therefore every Bank on Yourself strategy is unique to every situation. So let's get started. Here's the scenario. Derek is 28, Jen is 26. They've both reached a point where they want to take a couple of years off and cruise on a sailboat to Mexico, the South Pacific, maybe Central America. Their budget breaks down as $50,000 for their cruising boat, and then they've budgeted about $1,500 per month for their cruising kitty. So over 2 years, that's $18,000 a year, plus the boat is a total of $86,000 for their cruising kitty. To fund the kitty, they will both liquidate their IRAs, netting about $54,000 after tax. They just sold their condo, generating an additional $56,000 for a total of $110,000 in funds available. Their plan is to pay cash for the boat and put the rest of their money in a savings account. Upon returning from their cruise, they'll start jobs and begin saving for their next adventure or retirement, etc. So here's what the Bank on Yourself strategy looks like. Instead of the savings account, Derek and Jen will place $110,000 into a Bank on Yourself structured single premium whole life insurance contract. From the cash values that are immediately available, they'll take a policy loan to pay for the boat, and then they'll take periodic policy loans from the cash values to fund their 2-year cruising adventure. Upon returning, they'll sell the boat and apply proceeds to repay the policy loan. And after starting new jobs, they'll pay the remaining policy loan balance in monthly installments over a few years. So here's how the short-term numbers shake out. What you're looking at is a snapshot of the illustrated policy values. You can see Derek and Jen's $110,000 going in, the loans for the boat and their cruising kitty coming out, and then the repayment of the loans going back in. Pay close attention to the cash value here at the end of $145,000. Also note that at the end of their cruise here, Derek and Jen are $92,000 of their original $110,000. Even after borrowing almost all of their money and then repaying it, they still realized a gain of over $35,000. Even when we subtract out the policy loan interest, they still end up almost $17,000 ahead of where they would have been with their plan. Also note, we have a built-in security factor for Jen here. If something tragic were to happen to Derek during their cruise, they have a little peace of mind knowing that Jen will have over $500,000 in death benefit to help her deal with the tragedy, get back home and back on her feet, and so forth. Long term is where the real power of the Bank on Yourself strategy becomes obvious. Other than the original $110,000 and the loan repayments, Derek and Jen have not put another single penny into the policy since they returned from cruising decades ago. Yet as a result of their money decisions decades ago, they are now sitting on nearly $500,000 nest egg in their 60s and 70s. This is the power of Bank on Yourself. Access to your money today for anything you want or need without giving up anything for your long-term financial security. And if you're thinking you must be settling for mediocre performance in order to have that access, think again. Derek and Jen would have had to put that $110,000 somewhere that would have delivered an 8.25% average annual return for 42 straight years without a single down year or loss, just to break even with their Bank on Yourself policy results. And by the time Derek is 90, that number increases to a whopping 11.3% every single year for 62 years without a single down year or loss. By any standard, this is remarkable performance, and you'd be hard-pressed to match it with any other financial strategy I've ever heard of. So why does it work the way it works? So now you're looking at the same snapshot of the same policies, illustrated values, but without any of the loan payments or the loans or repayments. Note the cash values are exactly the same. Think about that. When Derek and Jen borrowed $92,000 from their policy and then repaid themselves, they ended up with exactly the same cash values as if they never borrowed from it at all. In other words, when you borrow from the cash values, the money in your Bank on Yourself policy continues to grow in the background as if you never touched a dime of it. This is powerful, and it's something I call luck. Lifetime, uninterrupted compounding, and there is no other financial strategy anywhere that can give your money luck. Derek and Jen will have a wonderful cruise and an amazing experience no matter what they choose to do. But in the final analysis, if Derek and Jen go with their original plan to put their cruising kitty money in a savings account, they will then return home dead broke and starting over from scratch. If they use the bank on yourself strategy, they return home with equity in their policy, $500,000 of life insurance coverage, and a plan that creates hundreds of thousands of dollars of wealth for them over their lifetime. Now, which path would you choose? Kind of a no-brainer, right? So to learn more or request a free phone consultation with me, just visit www.boatdollars.com or email me directly at john@jinslee.com.